Hi everyone, welcome to WebTech Production. In this part of CSS tutorial, I will talk about position property. If you watch this video till the end, then you will learn what is position property, what is static positioning, what is relative positioning, what is absolute positioning, and finally you will learn what is fixed positioning. First, let's see what is position property. In fact, position property is one of the CSS property which is used for controlling the layout of HTML page. Position property can hold these values. Now let's see what is static positioning. In fact, when we set the value of position property to static, then it is called static positioning. When we set the value of position property to static, web browser will display all block level elements and new line. Now let us practically see how a browser displays block level element when we set the value of position property to static. Let us start coding. Let us change title of document to now let us create two block level element. An HTML paragraph is block level element, so let us create two paragraph element. Now let us use position property and set the value of position property to static. For that, go to his section and use style tag. Select paragraph by tag name. Type opening and closing curly braces. Now let us use position property and set the value of position property to static. Put semicolon at the end. Now let us use width property and set the value of width property to 45%. Now let us save the file and see how a browser displays these two block level elements. Go to file, select on save command. As you can see, the browser displayed these two block level elements, one lower down the another. If you notice, there is a lot of free space at right side of first paragraph element. But despite being a lot of free space, web browser didn't display second paragraph element at right side of first paragraph element. So now the question is, why web browser didn't display second paragraph element at right side of first paragraph element? Well, the answer is when we set the value of position property to static, web browser displays all block level elements one lower down the another. One more thing we need to keep in mind when we set the value of position property to static is that by using left or right, top or bottom property, we can't move static elements. Now let's practically see we can move static element to right side by using left property or not. Type left. Let us set the value of left property to 50 pixel. Now let us save the file and see we could move these two block level elements to right side or not. As you can see, by using left property we couldn't move these two block level elements. Now let us see what is relative positioning. In fact, when we set the value of position property to relative, then it is called relative positioning. Relative positioning is same like static positioning, in which web browser displays each and every block level element and new line one after another. But there is one main difference between static positioning and relative positioning. And static positioning, by using left, right, top or bottom property, we can't move HTML element. But in relative positioning, we can move HTML element by using left, right, bottom or top property. Now let us practically see in relative positioning we can move HTML element or not. Select paragraph by tag name. Type opening and closing curly braces. Now let us use position property. and set the value of position property to relative. Now let us use left property and set the value of left property to 50 pixel. Now let's save the file and see we could move HTML element by using left property or not. Go to file, select on save command. As you can see, by using left property we could move HTML element to right side. Now let's see what is absolute positioning. In fact, when we set the value of position property to absolute, then it is called absolute positioning. And absolute positioning, when we set the value of position property to absolute, then that element will be taken out of normal flow. Now let us practically see what happens when we set the value of position property to absolute. Let us create three block level elements. Let us create paragraph element first. Now let us create h1 element, which is block level element 2. h1, this is now let us create another paragraph. Now let us save the file and see how a browser displays these three block level elements. Go to file, select on save command. As you can see, the browser displayed each and every block level element one after another. Now let us use position property and set the value of position property to absolute and heading tag. Let us take h1 element by tag name. Let us type opening and closing curly braces. Now let us use position property. Let us set the value of position property to absolute. Put semicolon at the end. Now let us save the file and see how a browser displays h1 element. Go to file, select on save command. As you can see, h1 element is taken out of normal flow. Now let us see what is fixed positioning. In fact, when we set the value of position property to fixed, then it is called fixed positioning. And fixed positioning HTML element is taken out of normal flow, and also it does not move when we scroll up or down. So now let us use position property in h1 element and set the value of position property to fixed. Position and set the value of position property to fixed. Put semicolon at the end. Now let us create few more paragraphs. Now let us save the file and see how a browser displays h1 element. Go to file, select on save command. As you can see, h1 element is taken out of normal flow, and also it does not move when we scroll up or down. As you can see, when we scrolling down or up, h1 element is not moving. That is because the position of this element is fixed. Okay guys, this was the example and explanation of position property. If you liked my video, please click on thumbs up button, and if you are new to my channel and didn't subscribe yet, please do subscribe now.